sat in class and wondered what the best way to take notes is because you were failing the course? Well, according to the article Pros and Cons of Typed, Digitally Handwritten, and Paper Notes, Guts tip, Navin states an important process in studying and learning is note-taking. It is a practical requirement to pass a class and almost every student does it. I'm credible to give this speech because I have researched and put all of my sources into the great speech for you. In this speech, I will persuade you that taking digitally typed notes is harmful to your performance and that taking handwritten notes will benefit your cognitive abilities. I will also list and explain a few note-taking styles that are beneficial. Digitally typed notes seem faster to take, but they actually negatively affect your performance. The magic of writing stuff down is the pen mightier than a laptop by Brian Goodwin states, for students who are efficient typists, laptops make it easy to mindlessly record what they hear, instead of thinking about what they're learning, mentally connecting the dots, and focusing on what's more important. Goodwin also explains that laptops seem like the perfect tool because you can type faster than you can write. But the reality is that you aren't focusing on the material. Instead, you're just copying down what the lecturer is saying. Goodwin also states, note-taking is an effective memory and learning aid because it prompts students to think about their learning. It's more effective when done by hand, and young writers, even those with learning disabilities, aren't well served by moving too quickly to keyboarding. An article previously mentioned states, typing is a fast and easy way to take the information presented in lectures and textbooks and consolidate them for reference later. But due to its fast nature, this method leads to the least amount of information retained and will require you to study more. This article explains the cons surrounding typed notes. Navin says that it is 1, expensive, 2, has low retention, and 3, has a battery life, meaning it could die. The article also states computers and tablets have notifications, and if someone texts you or you get emails on the device or your favorite game sends you an enticing notification to try to get you to play again, can cause distractions. This disrupts your flow of learning and breaks your focus. The last disadvantage to using laptops to type your notes is that many students tend to type verbatim or word for word. The pen is mightier than the keyboard. Advantages of longhand over laptop note-taking states, although more notes are beneficial, at least to a point, if the notes are taken indiscriminately or by mindlessly transcribing content, as is more likely the case on a laptop, then when notes are taken longhand, the benefit disappears. Transcribing notes using the verbatim method, which is the word-for-word method, does not have you engaged in the material and you will not remember it at all. Now you're probably wondering, well, what is the best way to take notes if I can't type them? Well, handwritten notes is the answer to that question. The article, Students' Views on Strategic Note-Taking and Its Impact on Performance, Achievement, and Learning, states, one of the major benefits in taking notes is that students can be actively engaged in a lecture by listening to the instructor for important knowledge and writing that in their own words. The authors of that article explain that students need to be understanding the content of a lecture and making sense of the information in their own words. They also state being engaged in the process of note-taking promotes recognizing and organizing important content. This engagement can lead to comprehension, which is another key benefit to handwriting your notes. Note-taking review memory and comprehension states, thus it appears that note-taking facilitates deeper comprehension consistent with previous research that suggests that people who take notes are more likely to elaborate on the material. In the previous article, Salome and Thompson state, our research findings can be summarized into 2 key results. 1, note-taking improves students' recall of material presented in lectures, increases students' understanding of the content, and assists in preparation for exams. And 2, improves their overall grades. Comprehension of a topic can lead to the third benefit, memory. A previous article by Boyhay and others did a study to see the effects of note-taking. It states, more generally, these findings can be broadly consistent with a wide range of findings that active interaction improves memory. as with grounded cognition, the benefits of survival-focused encoding, and event-based mental updating. Notes can act as memory cues. You are listening and interacting with the information instead of just listening to the presenter. All of these benefits lead to the final benefit, increased academic performance. A previous study in an article by Salome and Thompson showed the effects on GPA and academic performance when people took notes. The article states, based on this data alone, it is safe to say that when students are able to take very strategic notes and use them to their benefits, it will yield higher performances in classes, which in turn improves their GPAs. Then the article later says, note-taking plays a role in gaining knowledge, learning, and success. Our most significant finding is that there is a direct relationship between note-taking and students' GPAs. Now that you know about the importance of taking handwritten notes, I will list and discuss a few ways that you can take these notes. A few styles of notes that you have already seen is the guided notes. Many of our teachers use them in their lectures, and yeah, they might seem pointless, but they actually have benefits to them. A comparison of two note-taking methods in a secondary English classroom compared guided notes to a method called Cornell notes. The article states, guided notes provide a framework for students to locate relevant information in a text or lecture by using prompts such as fill-in-the-blank statements or partial outlines. Here's an example where they use the fill-in-the-blank method, but I know a lot of us have used that in our high school careers. Another method they used is the Cornell method. Jacob states, Cornell notes, named for Cornell University, where the system was developed, are more learner-directed, for they do not prompt the student for information. Instead, as documented by Cornell's website, students divide the page into 3 sections, 1 for notes, 2 for questions, and 3 for a summary. The article, Note-Taking Styles, Guts Tip, explains it in another way. It states, the Cornell method was pioneered by Professor Walter Puck in the 1950s at the Cornell University, hence the name. This method is also a structured way of taking notes, but focuses on 3 areas, the cues, the notes, and a summary. Here's an example of the Cornell notes where it takes the notes, and then it has questions and a summary at the end. The previous article by Jacob summarizes his findings with the comparison. The guided notes method should be more effective when information requires knowledge, recall, or basic comprehension, while the Cornell method seems to be more effective when the synthesis, application, and evaluation is required of students. The results were effective in their own ways. In my persuasive speech, I persuaded you that digitally typed notes are not effective to your performance and that you should take handwritten notes. I have also listed and explained a few of the styles that you should take. If you answered the question yes at the beginning of my speech, then you should know how to take handwritten notes. Thank you for listening. Here's my works cited.